and do a topic on how to identify a good seed, okay? I think, and this is for, listen, if you are not a feminine woman, like if you are playing more of a masculine role, this video is not for you. If you don't care how your man treats you, thank you. If you don't care how your man treats you, this video is not for you. This video is for feminine women who want to be treated really well and want to understand some old school values. Okay, so I have my notes here because this is going to be a quick video. I have my notes here and I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So, those of us who are 30 and up, who may be dating, and if you're younger, like in your 20s, this may be harder to find in this generation of men, but don't lower your standards just because men maybe don't do these things. Keep your standards high, keep praying, keep doing all of those things. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Let me just rearrange a little bit, and I'm gonna back up a little bit. Okay. Yeah, I think y'all can see me better this way. Okay, so is he a gentleman? I think that if you're single, ready to mingle, you should avoid men that are losers, that are not gentlemen, that do not know how to treat a woman. And I'm going to give you just some basic things to identify if the person that you are dealing with or plan to deal with, or if the person that you are currently with is a gentleman or not. Okay, so let's get started. One, when you are with a guy, the first thing you should ask yourself is he kind to me? You know, a guy that likes you is kind, okay? Most of the time. Like, if y'all get into a little argument, okay, yeah, you might have a little spat. Hey, so pretty. Thank you. You might have a little, and I actually did this look on Instagram. So if y'all not following me on Instagram, I don't know what's wrong with y'all. Naturally Fashionable on Instagram. Follow me if you're not, because I did this look live on Instagram. Okay, so you need to basically ask yourself, is he kind to me? Even when you get into an argument, does he call you names? Does he call you the B word? Does he ignore you? Does he give you the silent treatment? Is he passive aggressive? All of these things are signs that your relationship may fail in the future. You know, I've been married a long time. My 13th year anniversary is coming up on June 11th. I'm hoping to take a little vacay before I go back to the States. It seems like all the airline tickets are like crazy ridiculous right now, but hopefully he'll let me get away with it. And anyway, so yeah, a gentleman is kind. Even when he's angry, he's kind, okay? He tries his best not to come out of his character. So if you're with a guy and he's cussing you out, like that should never happen. A guy should never curse you out. Never. Never. Ever, ever, ever. Like, I don't care how mad he gets. My husband has never cursed me out. And I can only think of one time when I probably was provoking and he did hurt my feelings. Like, one time he didn't curse me out, but he said something that I was like, oh, that's how you feel. And I realized that, you know, sometimes we can bring the best out of people, or we can bring the worst out of people. And as I mature as a woman, I'm learning that in friendships, in marriage, in career, in entrepreneurship, I'm just learning that sometimes we can bring the best or the worst out of people. And as long as we stay true to our convictions and our morals and our values, it'll all work out, even when things don't seem like they're gonna work out. Okay, so is he kind? Second point, does he open doors? A man needs to open the door for you. If you are a feminine woman like me, you want a man to open a door for you. Like I said, if you don't care about that, click off this video. This is not for you. You don't have standards like that. Okay? No, I go to a shop and get it done. Thank you. Does he open doors for you? Even some young men have watched their fathers, and even the men who don't have fathers, if they have a role model in their life, an uncle or something, they should know that you open the door for a lady. These are things you want to look for when you're dating someone, especially in your 30s. Now, when you're 20, 21, these are things you can teach a young boy. But once you reach 30, we don't have time to teach nobody anything. The man needs to be ready, okay? If you are 30, in particular 35 and up, we don't have time to teach anyone how to treat us, okay? So if you're in your 20s, these are things you can mention to your boyfriend. Like, hey, you should open the door for me, probably. Have you ever opened the door for a lady before? Men open doors for ladies. If you're in your 20s, you might have to teach this to the younger generation. But if you're in your 30s, over 35, hitting 40, those men should know better, okay? Does he allow you to order first? I think it is very, very tacky to go into a restaurant and your man, I don't care if you're at the Burger King drive-thru and your man is ordering, you pull up to the drive-thru and he's like, yeah, I'd like a Whopper with fries. Oh yeah, what do you want, honey? Never. These are just little things. Hi, Sabrina. These are just little things to show you what's the word, tentative? I think that's the word, how tentative he will be to you as y'all get more serious in the relationship. My husband don't say nothing till I order my food. Now, sometimes, y'all, I don't know what I want to order, so I'll tell him, babe, go ahead and order, please. Just go ahead and order. And then he'll go ahead and order. But there is no restaurant we go to where he does not turn to me when the waitress comes to the table, where he does not turn to me and say, what would you like? He always allows me to order first because that's what gentlemen do. Right, yeah. People don't think of the little things, but these are little things that you can look at to see if you are dealing with a good foundation. And what I mean by foundation is a man that's going to continue to grow and mature and be, no one's going to be perfect. You're never going to find the perfect man, ever. But you should be looking for certain things. You should be looking for certain things. And my husband has grown and matured. We started dating probably when he was 22 years old. He was probably 22 years old when we started dating. And y'all, to see my husband blossom in the way that he has blossomed as a man, he was good then, but boy, is he even better now. And these are little things that I never thought about, that now as I'm doing the femininity challenge, join the femininity challenge. It's in my private fashion community. We talk fashion, and right now we're talking about how to benefit in life from being feminine, how to get what we want in love, life, career. Okay? All right. So if he lets you order your food first, that's a gentleman. That's a gentleman type behavior, okay? All right, third thing. And I'm not ordering, never mind. Erase the third thing. This is not like a list like that. Does he offer to carry your bags? Let me tell you, even when my husband, when we're in the airport, because we do a lot of traveling now, and we're in the airport and he sees me struggling with my bag, he comes in like a little knight in shining armor and scoops that bag up. And usually it's not in here, but usually the bag that he scoops up is my Louis Vuitton Keepall, because I thought that was a good idea, but in hindsight, that bag gets really heavy. And usually he sees me, and I'm a big girl. You would think I'd be able to carry the thing, but he sees me staggering along and he's like, come here, baby. I'll get that for you. Acting like a man. Don't you love when a man acts like a man? There is nothing more sexy, because I don't think you should date for looks. I don't think you should. I mean, I know everybody wants chemistry, but the worst mistake you can make in your life is to date for looks. So I don't think anyone should date for looks or anything like that. But I love when a man is being a man. There is nothing more sexy And I'm not talking about the exterior of a man, but there's nothing more sexy than a man being a man, taking control, honey. I just be like, oh my gosh, you're being such a man. I just love that. So, that's a gentleman thing to do, to carry your bags. Next, keeps his word. A gentleman keeps his word, okay? A gentleman, when he says he's going to call you at 7 o'clock, he calls you. When he says he's going to pick you up at 9 o'clock, he's there early, not late. If he says he's going to do something for you, he does it. And if he can't do it, he calls you and lets you know, hey, babe, I can't do it, or I can't do it tonight. Yeah, it's not about looks. I mean, obviously, you don't want the person to look atrocious. I mean, you want to have some chemistry, but I would not immediately turn away someone because I wasn't physically attracted to them. If I was dating now as a single woman, and I'm not a single woman, but if I was a single woman, looks would be on the end, like bottom. That would be like bottom. Because I know how I like to live, and I know the kind of treatment I want. So looks would be like way down here. But I get that you want chemistry with people. I want chemistry with my man too, so I get it. Okay. Yeah, he needs to keep his word. You guys, I remember one time in college, I'm going to tell you this story. And I wish my husband was in here, but he's not in here. Babe, can you come here? There was one time in college, you guys, and I can't remember if, I don't know. Can you come here for a second? I'm telling them a story. I just want to see if you remember. There was one time in college. Scoot down. They can't see you. There was one time. Here. Oh, we both can fit on this little thing. Oh. Big Booty Judy and her man can fit on this little bench. There was one time in college. You remember that one time in college? I don't know if you told me you were going to call me later or what, but remember I went out with my girls and you went out with your fraternity brothers, and I saw you in that party. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I walked up to you. Do you remember what I said to you?
I don't remember what you said, but it was something to the effect that I thought you weren't going to be here or something.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you had a party?
I thought you weren't going out tonight.
I thought you weren't going out tonight.
Yeah, I said I wasn't going out.
Yeah, he said he wasn't going out, and I was like...
They dragged me out.
He hates parties, he hates clubs. Even when we go on vacation, I'm the one that's like, babe, let's go to the lounge. Let's go to the lounge. Yeah, I just wanted you to, I was mad, wasn't I? But then I didn't embarrass you or anything. I kept feminine. I stayed feminine, and I was just like, oh, you had a party? Because last time I recall, you don't like parties.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you, babe. All right. Yeah, so that was just a funny story that, but he always kept his word, even as a young man. And he's still a young man. But even like when he was in his 20s, he always kept his word. If he said he was going to pick me up, he picked me up. If he said he was going to be somewhere, he was there. And at the time, I was young and dumb. I was just in love. I wasn't thinking what all this thought process that I have now. But now that I reflect back to my dating and, how my relationship has evolved over the years, I want to give these tips to women so that you don't have to go through this drama and all this foolishness that all these women be going through, because we don't deserve it. We don't deserve to be cheated on. We don't deserve to be lied to. We don't deserve to have to pay 50-50. In a marriage, it's 100, really. You know what I mean? Like, I give 100 of my soul, myself, to my husband, and he gives 100 to me. But I don't believe a man should sit down with you at a table, spread the bills out, and be like, you have to pay 50 and I'm going to pay 50. That's a no-no. That's not biblical, okay? So and that doesn't mean that's the right way. I'm just saying, I'm just giving you a perspective of how I think. You do what works for you in your relationship. Everybody got to do what works for them. But for me, the traditional life is what I desire. I love traditional gender roles in a relationship.
Disconnected.
Oh, okay. This little thing is talking again. Okay, so A gentleman always keeps his word. Next, a gentleman protects. And what I mean by not like he fights for you, because my husband, that would be the last thing he would do when we were out. The last result would him be fighting, okay? I'm not talking about a thug here, all right? I'm saying he protects you in the aspect of he protects your heart. He protects you psychologically. He protects you physically, as like when he sees you're upset or you're depressed, or when he sees you're disturbed. He's your protector, meaning he's going to come around and say to you, hey, you look sad, or what's wrong? Anytime my husband thinks there's something wrong with me, he asks me, you know? So that's how a gentleman behaves. A gentleman is always concerned about his woman. He's always concerned about your well-being, and he's always compassionate. You know, like I said, no one's perfect. Everybody has off days, but you need to measure how compassionate the man that you're with or the man that you're dealing with is being towards you, because love is compassionate. It's so compassionate. That's one of the biggest, I think, things you need in a marriage is compassion and understanding. Okay? Next, a gentleman is emotionally available to you. And I listened to a girl on YouTube who helps singles. Her name is April. Is it April Jones or April Johnson? It's April something. Okay? April Mason, yeah. Exactly. April Mason. As soon as you said that. So I listen to a girl sometimes. Her name is April Mason. And she made this point in one of her videos on Facebook. And her videos are more geared towards, I guess, dating, but you could date someone forever. You know, we need to move from dating to marriage, okay? You're not trying to date, especially when you're in your 30s or 40s or 50s. And I know I have women who watch me of all age ranges. You're not trying to date someone for the rest of your life. That's not what traditional women want to do. We want to settle down. We want to get our paperwork. We want to have our benefits and our rights as a wife and have all the treatment that you get from being a wife. But you have to set the standard before you get married, or else you're going to enter a marriage and be someone's slave, or you know, they're going to expect you to do 50-50, but then you got to come home and do all the housework and raise the children, and they don't want to support you. You know, you got to set the standard for your relationship early in the game, like early. You got to set the standard, okay? So April Mason, I love her. She's gorgeous too. She talks about dating. She said that one thing you should be looking for is an emotionally available man. And I said to myself, she hit the nail on the head. You need to only have relationships with men who can be emotionally available to you. And I don't mean like they're feminine, like they cry or they, oh, I love you, baby. Like, I don't mean like that. I mean like they can have a real relationship with you. And that was one of the biggest problems that I had in my marriage. I want to say like year 3 to 4. I felt like my husband was not as emotionally available to me as I wanted him to be. And what I realized was he couldn't be emotionally available to me because I was doing too much of this, okay? Instead of strategically thinking how to communicate with him in an effective way, I would just be communicating any kind of way I wanted to, and he would shut down. And that's what a masculine man will do. A masculine man very rarely will argue back and forth with you. They may argue a little bit, but most likely what a masculine man is going to do is he's going to just shut down. He's going to stop talking to you. He's going to walk off. He's just not going to deal with it because they can't. Men know that women are slick, you know. My husband knows he can't outslick me. He knows that this tongue is slick and slithery like a little snake. And he knows that I can scheme and plot he know he ain't gonna win that battle with me. He doesn't even think like me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to win the battle, and he's trying to win the war. So men know that they cannot compete with us when it comes to arguing, which is why they don't like to argue, because they know that they can't keep up. They can't keep up with that banter that we have going back and forth. So it only makes them feel emasculated, sometimes upset, and then you don't get what you want out of the relationship. Then y'all are just bumping heads. So make sure you're not with a man that's damaged. Meaning, and we're all damaged. I'm damaged, you're damaged, but damaged to the point where they cannot love you the way you deserve to be loved. They're damaged from a previous relationship. They're damaged from their mama. They're damaged from something that happened to them when they were a little boy. And now they can't be a man because they're emotionally unavailable to you. They cannot bond with you on the level that is required to lead to a serious relationship that ultimately leads to marriage. I don't understand people who date for the purpose of dating. That makes absolutely no sense to me. If you're in your 20s, take your time. Don't sleep around with every man you get in a relationship with. Don't become loose. Try to keep yourself as morally together as possible so that you can attract someone that's on your level. Because that's really what it is, attracting someone that's on your level, okay? So a man needs to be emotionally available to you. He should be there for you and he should be able to show emotion when it is needed. But don't expect a man who is very masculine to show a lot of emotion, because it's probably not going to happen. Like my husband, I could probably count on my hands the number of times I've seen him show real emotion. Like real emotion, like meaning when he's sad or something like that. Like, that's just not who he is. He's just not emotional. So I'm not saying they have to be emotional. What I'm saying is, when you need them, when you're going through something, they need to be able to be there for you in the way that you would expect your man to be there for you. And if they can't, something's up with that. Dependable. I think that's self-explanatory. My husband forgets stuff all of the time, and it bothers me when he forgets things, but then I have to remember, like, okay, he forgot, but he's dependable. He's always dependable to you. You can depend on him. You can depend on him that things are going to get done. And how terrible it is for women to be with a man that they cannot depend on. What are you with him for? If you can't depend on your man to hold you down, to be there when you're sick, to be there when you're frustrated, to be there when you feel like the world is coming down on you, well, then that ain't your man. That's the wrong man. So a gentleman is dependable. Are you going to save this to the channel? Yeah, it'll be uploaded after I'm done. And the last thing that I want to say is, a man who is a gentleman is trustworthy. Listen to me, ladies. A gentleman is trustworthy, okay? You can trust them with your heart. You can trust them with your body. You can trust them with your emotions. And you can trust them with your dreams. And all of the things that you aspire to have or to be. But I just want to put, this is kind of off topic, but I just want to put this in here. You don't trust someone in the first 3 months you're dating them, okay? Like, trust is a build up. It takes time. Before you trust a man, he needs to prove himself. And you don't say this to him. You don't say, oh, I don't trust you until you prove yourself. Like, no, some of us talk too much as women. If you talk too much, join the femininity challenge, okay? If you're too masculine, join the femininity challenge. If you need to upgrade your look, Join the femininity challenge, because these are things I'm always working on. Sometimes we talk too much, okay? Don't tell a man everything about your life, everything you went through as a little girl. Keep some things to yourself, and let the trust build up, build up, build up. Don't just instantly give yourself to a man and tell him everything and everything you've been through, and all your stories. And it's too much. You don't need to tell him all of that, okay? You don't need to tell him all of that stuff. Get to know him, see if he's trustworthy, and you will know if he's trustworthy by his actions. Is he talking to other girls behind your back? Is he talking to 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6 women? Did he cheat on you? If a man cheats on you during a relationship, just leave. Don't marry a cheater. I just feel like, and I know this is controversial, because as a Christian, we want to be loving, we want to forgive people, we want to give people a second chance. But I would rather you leave a cheater before y'all get married than get married and then have that man cheat on you during the marriage. Because me and my husband always talk about cheating is not a mistake. Society wants you to believe that cheating is a mistake. Society wants you to believe that that's what a man does. A man cheats. And let me tell you, wealthy men cheat, average men cheat, and poor men cheat. All men cheat. We know wealthy men, they have it a little harder because they have so many women coming towards them and trying to sleep with them. So we know that wealthy men have a harder struggle with that because there's so much access to women, okay? And then if you have a professional man like I have, like a professional man, he may not have women like throwing their panties at him every day, but please believe, if he was a single guy, he could get dates. He has his own money. He has his own accomplishments. He will never be unemployed. He's a working professional. He has things on the side he's working on. He's intelligent. I mean, I could go down the list of why my husband could easily go out and none of this is about looks. You didn't hear me mention anything about looks. He could easily go out and sleep with a ton of women. And who's to say what he will do in the future? Nobody knows. But let me tell you something. I watch very closely. I'm always watching, and I'm always listening, and I'm always observing, because the last thing I want is to get AIDS or an STD from my husband going out and cheating on me. That's the last thing that I would want as a woman of my age. So my thing is, if you don't want me, just tell me. Just tell me, because I'm not going to beg you to stay. If you don't want me, go ahead and tell me. And we've talked about cheating, and we've talked about, what we've even had scenarios of what would we do if we found out the other person cheated. And this is what I think. You have to make that decision for yourself. But cheating is not a mistake. If you are somebody that has a boyfriend or a serious relationship, and your boyfriend told you, oh, it was just a mistake, he is lying. He is lying. Cheating is not a mistake. It is planned. It is premeditated. Me and my husband talk about this all the time. How long do you have to think before you take off all your clothes, strip naked, then get in the bed? Think about how many steps you have to go through to cheat with someone. Really think about it, ladies. How many steps do you have to go through to cheat with someone? And I'm not one of those women who would say that a man doesn't love you at all because he cheated, but he don't love you enough. Did you hear what I said? I'm not saying that every man that's cheated on a woman, he doesn't love his wife. But what I will say is he don't love her enough to be afraid that he's going to lose her, okay? He doesn't love her enough that he is afraid, if I do this, she is going to walk out of the door. And this woman is good to me. I don't want to lose this woman. If your boyfriend or your husband does not love you like that, well, then he is not a gentleman, and he is not the man for you. Because everybody's going to struggle with that. You know, even women cheat. People think it's just men. These women out here are cheating like crazy. I don't know why people give just men the bad rap. Now women want to be men, and they want to be thoughts and hoes and go out here and sleep with all these men. Now women want to do it. So the roles are reversed. Nobody should do it. Okay, if you're in a committed relationship, if you're married, that's unacceptable. It's totally unacceptable on all levels, and it's dangerous because that man can come back, lay in the bed with you, and give you something that you can't get rid of. So that's why you have to watch, people's behaviors. Are they super flirtatious? Are they always in some girl's face? Are you finding numbers, strange numbers? Are you hearing them? Do they hide their phone? That's another thing. Why does someone need to hide their phone if they're not doing anything? Why would you need to hide your phone? Why do you gotta go take a call in the next room? Now, if you're just meeting, this makes sense. Y'all don't know each other like that. But after you're in a relationship with someone, why are they taking a call in another room? Why are they hiding their phone? Why do they got passwords on everything? I'm just saying. I'm not saying. Just keep your eyes and ears open. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say. Those are not the only ways, but those are some ways to identify if you are dealing with a gentleman. And like I said, if you're in your 20s watching this video, sometimes you have to talk to men about how to treat you, because the new men of this generation, a lot of them are growing up in single homes, meaning they're being raised by a mother. And if the mother is not providing a male role model for them, they may not understand things about opening doors, how to talk to a woman, how to treat a woman. So if you're in your 20s and you meet a guy that you think has potential, give him a chance, talk to him. If he's really into you, he will meet your standard. Did you hear what I said? If the man is really into you, he will meet your standard. If he's not into you, he will not meet your standard, and he will just do what he wants when he wants to do it. He'll be nice sometime, and then he'll be mean, and then he'll be this, and he won't be consistent. If you're in your 30s, in particularly 35 and up, 40s, 50s, we don't have time to teach anybody how to be a man, okay? We don't have time for that. Time is running out, tick, 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 tick. And you really need to find someone who has some of these qualities. I mean, you could tell them a thing or two, but you shouldn't have to teach them a whole list of how to treat you. Like, no. You shouldn't have to do that when you're over 35 and up. Like, I gotta teach you how to be a man. Like, no, you can give them some tips, some pointers. Like, oh, I'm used to, my door being opened. They should pick it up. If they don't pick it up, they're not a gentleman. Now, if you don't care about that, do you, girl, do you. All right, you guys, that's it. If you have any topics that you want me to cover, let me know in the comment section, because relationship talk will be a part of my channel now because it's needed. I don't like the statistics for Black women, and in particular, but any woman can listen to me, whether you're Black, white, whatever. I don't care, but I'm a Black woman, so I really care about Black women and this whole thing of like there's no good men and all the negativity that I'm hearing about marriage, about how men are treating women these days. And I just feel like married people need to come out of the shadows and talk about how hard it is to be married, stay married, what marriage means, what we've learned from being married all these years. Even divorced people, they need to come out the shadows and talk about things that they learned from being married. People who've been in bad relationships need to come out of the shadows and talk about how we can get what we want as women. Because that's my focus. How can we get what we want as women? Because women are the most precious humans in the world, and then when you have children, I know a lot of you are mothers, then you understand love on a whole different level, because then you have a child that's the most precious human in the world. And children need solid, stable homes. You guys know I'm an educator, and I've talked to too many kids that are messed up right now because of adults. And so, if we can get it together as a community and understand what love truly is, how we're supposed to be treated, how we can be good women to our spouses, and how our men can be good to us, I think that it'll just make the world better. So, if you do have any topics that you want to discuss, let me know. I have some other video ideas. And thank you for joining me tonight. I will see you guys next time in my next video. Have a great evening. Bye.